Men, what happened when you were threatened to stay in a relationship? After my girlfriend's third attempt at ending her life, I realized I was a hostage in this relationship and not her savior. I met Sarah crying over her laptop at a coffee shop. Her vulnerability drew me in immediately. When I asked if she was okay, she told me she'd lost her job and was having panic attacks. The way she looked at me when I offered to buy her coffee was like I'd thrown her a lifeline. That should have been my first red flag. Sarah had intense panic attacks that came out of nowhere, but I was the only person who could calm her down. The attacks started happening right when I had plans with others. I'd be getting ready to meet friends, and suddenly Sarah would be on the bathroom floor gasping for air. I canceled so many plans that people stopped inviting me. Then came the first suicide attempt. I found her in the bathtub with pills scattered around. She was groggy and kept saying she couldn't live without me. The EMTs said she'd taken just enough to get sick, but not enough to actually hurt herself. After the hospital, I quit my job to watch her full time. I moved into her apartment because she said having her own space helped her anxiety. Everything revolved around Sarah's mental state. My friends started getting angry texts from my phone telling them to leave me alone. I swore I never sent those messages, but Sarah would get upset whenever I brought it up. The medical emergency started around month 6. Sarah would collapse and I'd rush her to the ER. Doctors could never find anything wrong, but she'd insist something was seriously wrong. I started believing I was the only thing standing between Sarah and death. One night I caught Sarah having what looked like a seizure, but her eyes were open and she was watching me through her convulsions. When I called 911, she suddenly stopped and said I must have imagined it. Sarah started telling people I was controlling and abusive. My sister called asking why I wouldn't let Sarah have friends. Sarah had been calling my family crying about how isolated she felt. The crisis journal changed everything. I found it hidden in her closet, page after page of notes about my schedule and triggers. She had written fake seizure during his therapy and call his mom crying at 3 a.m. There were timestamps and ratings for manipulation tactics. Sarah had been recording my private breakdowns. She told people these videos showed how dangerous I was while posting on social media, portraying herself as an abuse victim. Sarah would be loving 1 minute, then call police claiming I threatened her. When cops arrived, she'd act terrified. As soon as they left, she'd ask what I wanted for dinner. A crisis counselor recognized the manipulation patterns when I called feeling suicidal. She validated that what I was experiencing was real abuse. That conversation saved my life. The final straw came when Sarah staged an overdose while I was at therapy, but I had started recording our conversations after finding the journal. During a rage episode, Sarah admitted to faking everything. She screamed about how easy I was to manipulate and how pathetic I was. I got every word on tape. Sarah filed a restraining order with fabricated evidence, but I had the recordings and her journal. The judge dismissed the case. I moved states away and changed my number. Therapy for complex trauma was brutal. I had severe PTSD and couldn't trust my perception for months, but slowly, I recognized my strength. 6 months later, Sarah's ex reached out. Every detail was identical to my experience. The fake attempts, medical emergencies, isolation tactics, even the same journal. She was a predator with a playbook. I connected with other survivors online. Finding people who understood was life-changing. Now I work as an advocate helping people recognize covert abuse.